Three, two, one, ghost. Hey, everybody. Welcome to 321 Ghost. As always, I'm your host with the silent G, Kyle. Also, as always, joined by my pal Natalie. Hey, Natalie, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing really well. We are talking about the 2009 film Orphan, directed by Jaume Colette Serra. Got a screenplay by David Leslie Johnson. And actually, hold on. Let me get back to Jaume really quick. Um, he's directed a couple movies. He's This is not the first Jaume Colette Serra film that we've covered. Do you know what the first one is?
Oh, I cheated. House of Wax.
Yeah, hell yeah, House of Wax. He also did
Oh,
that. The Shallows. Is that Blake Lively shark movie?
yeah, I've actually never watched it.
I watched it. I think I don't know. My wife was watching it like on the couch, and I was just kind of coming
hmm
in and out and watching parts of it, just being like, "Oh, gee, that's a sharky situation. It's terrible." But
It's one of the few shark movies I haven't seen, actually.
dang, there you go. Well,
Yeah,
maybe check it out.
I'll get to it.
As I was saying, though, we got a screenplay by David Leslie Johnson, story by Alex Mace. Um, Also, Leonardo DiCaprio produced this guy. So
Yeah.
there you go. Good for him. You got to make the money somehow, right?
hmm
He's like, this is what I've built my career towards. I want to make this orphan movie, a movie that is not, it's a horror movie that's not scary,
Yeah.
but it is offensive. And and perpetuates terrible stereotypes. So that's kind of a theme this month too, after Leprechaun. Um,
We'll
so
get to that.
Leonardo DiCaprio, he's got to make his money somehow. We've got a good cast. I like Vera
Yeah.
Farmiga. I mean,
Yeah, I love her.
obviously she is in the Conjuring movies and such and so
hmm
forth. She was also in um that Psycho TV show that I think I liked a lot better than I think the general consensus was. Did you watch any of that?
I think we both liked it better than the general consensus. Yeah, Bates Motel. I thought she was amazing in that as
She
Norma Bates.
was.
Yeah,
And it's so like, okay, there were like very, very dumb parts of that show.
for sure.
So dumb.
hmm
And so unnecessary. I really did not like his like brother in
Fuck that
that whole
guy.
thing.
Who
Yeah,
cares
and
about
his
him?
like
Yeah.
and all this drama around like a weed farm in Oregon, and you're like, get the fuck out of here. Why is this a thing?
Yeah. They
Um,
just needed like to fill time, it felt like.
Yeah. So I digress, but hey, industry legend Vera Farmiga.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure. We've also got Peter Sarsgaard. I like Peter Sarsgaard. I think, from one guy with a jolly Oshucks attitude to another, that's kind of
Really?
off-putting at the same time. I appreciate Peter Sarsgaard.
You think he has a jolly aw shucks attitude?
I think a little bit. He's got like a I don't know. He sounds like he's kind of always a little drunk, but like has like a Santa Claus vibe to him. I like it.
Okay, here's the thing with him. I I enjoy Peter Sarsgaard, but he always feels kind of the same in most movies. Like you said, like he kind of has like this he seems like he's just kind of sleepy, kind of chill. No matter what the situation is, that's him at a 10.
So him
So
playing drunk at the end of this movie was like very like it's just like he just doing like a heightened cartoon version of himself a little bit. I don't know.
pretty much, yeah. But I do enjoy him. I think also with him, I'm never fully convinced that he's in love with anybody. Like whenever they show him like he's in a relationship, like maybe that's he's not supposed to be in love with his wife in this movie, but he doesn't sell relationships to me ever. But other than that, those are my only critiques of him.
Of course, as our titular orphan, we've got Isabel Furman,
hmm
who you know is I think is good in this movie.
I think she's
Ultimately,
great.
I don't think she gets. Well, I don't know. She's got like a same wavelength she keeps basically the whole time until the end.
Yeah.
Um, But I do like I do like her being mean to children and hurting children. That's
Yeah.
pretty fun to watch.
Oh, I think she's great. I mean, I'm thinking about like she's 10 at the time. My son is 9.5, and I'm like, no offense, Phil, if you ever listen to this, but like he couldn't do that acting job. No way.
Oh, are you saying like her as the child or her as the adult pretending acting as a child? Or are you talking about Isabel Furman acting
Isabel
in this movie?
Furman acting in this movie, like her acting, I think is fantastic.
Okay, but she's not 10 years old.
She is 10 years old.
Let's pause for a moment.
How old did you think she was?
I don't know why. See,
How
fooled me. I thought like I didn't, okay, so I didn't think she was 33, but,
Of course not. How old did
but
you think she was?
I thought she could have been like 20. And they
No,
just,
she's a child.
I checked. Yeah, she was like 10, 11 years old when that movie came out. No, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. That's so funny.
Now you think her acting's pretty good, don't you?
No, yeah, it is pretty good. Especially when she gets all mean and shit at the end when the real
Yeah.
teeth come out, you know?
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, she was nominated for a Teen Choice Award. She lost.
Hmm.
What can you do? Um, it was funny. So this movie was nominated for best, or no, it was nominated for best drama. It wasn't in part of the best horror category, which
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious to hear your thoughts on whether you would call this a thriller or horror. I still think it's horror, more or less.
It's
Leans that
horror.
way.
I think the twist makes it horror, whereas if she was just a little girl actually terrorizing, I think it would be more on the line of thriller.
Like what's that? Fuck, why am I blanking? That Macaulay Culkin movie?
Mm, The Good Son.
That's it, right?
That's a
Or that's a
thriller.
thriller.
Hmm.
So, and then you've got Carol Christine, Hilaria. It's Hilaria Pounder. Um, she's in like some like DC movies and some other stuff, but she's very familiar. Like she's always like one of those actors where it's like you see her and you're just like, I've seen this face before. She has just
Yeah.
very like noticeable features, but yeah, I feel well, and those features just get hammered to shit in this movie, so I feel bad for her. I don't remember honestly when I saw this movie for the first time. Did we watch it together?
I don't know. I saw it in the theater, so
Really? I
probably
did
not.
not.
Yeah.
Hmm. And then really at some point, I really want to get to the prequel of this movie. I thought about first like maybe
Mm,
doing that one first because technically it's a prequel. It happens before, but Orphan First
no.
Kill is fucking rad. But I
Yeah, it's
do,
pretty good.
and I was afraid that because of how much I loved Orphan First Kill more than this one, I was
Hmm.
worried coming back to this one, being thinking I would be harder on it. I
So
would
was
be bored
I.
by it because it just
Hmm.
doesn't have like that the extra fun twists on twists that happen in
And
this.
the camp factor too that
Yeah,
the first kill has. But I had the same fear, and we can't spoil anything from first kill because I think the fact that we're covering this one means that we're eventually going to get to it.
we'll probably get there.
Yeah.
Are you ready to hop into this one?
I am ready to hop into this one.
So you start with your characters, Vera Farmiga playing Kate, and then you got Peter Sarsgaard who plays John. They're a married couple. Kate's pregnant with their third child, and they're going to the
Hmm.
hospital because I assume she's in labor.
Yeah.
Um, we find out this is a nightmare. It's probably much more graphic than what really happened, but we learn
Oh,
that
yeah.
we learned that their third child was stillborn.
Hmm.
Um,
That's a
oof,
terrifying nightmare.
it's pretty awful. It's only there was one part where like it felt like there was like the pregnant body on the like surgical table or whatever,
Hmm.
and they just like had Vera Farmiga go under the table, just like poke her head out, because like you couldn't really see her neck. And I thought
The
that
way
just
she
looked
was
kind of
looking,
funny.
the way she was looking
Yeah.
down, because she was looking down at herself, so you couldn't see. her neck. I get what you mean. The shot was weird for sure.
And then the the surgeon or the guy that, delivers the baby, what are they called? Baby deliverers? I'm gonna lean on you for
The
this. I'm sorry.
doctor.
Sure. Just the
Yeah.
doctor who just walks up and is just like, all right, I'm gonna take this out of you. Is that also Peter Sarsgaard? Because those eyes
Yeah,
look really familiar. Okay.
it's him. He's playing both the doctor and himself, like his character as John in her dream, which I'm
Right.
assuming is intentional. But this dream is like super triggering if someone ever had a miscarriage or if you experience the loss of like stillbirth, but like it's
Oof,
yeah,
yeah.
it's really graphic. And as someone who's been through childbirth, when she's in the wheelchair and you see the blood like
Oof.
coming out like on the floor, that I think this nightmare is the scariest part of the movie.
So obviously that's super traumatizing. While I'm happy that she is seeing a therapist, Dr. Browning, Dr. Browning is too much, and I don't think
Oh,
he's a very good therapist.
I don't think she is either.
So we also learned about her that she had a past drinking problem. I don't know if we learn later that some of that was there was some accident involving her daughter, Max. Um, and then also we learned that they're looking to adopt, but she's not sure if she's ready.
They reveal later the accident with Max. They kind of hint slowly throughout the movie that something happened due to her neglect, we'll say. I think the alcoholism is a result of the stillbirth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that that's something that maybe happened after, or at least got increasingly bad after.
I thought the alcoholism had to do with what that incident by the water involving Max.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Does
I
the
thought you were saying
timing
something
not
different.
work?
I thought that happened before, or no, I guess that might be happened after the stillbirth then.
That's what I
So
was
you're probably
thinking.
right. Oh, okay.
She
Yeah, yeah,
said
yeah.
Max, because she said Max was 3 when it happened, and
Mm,
Max is probably about 5.
yeah.
Hmm.
So speaking of which, we do meet Max. She hears well enough to be able to read lips,
Hmm.
but she does experience deafness. Daniel, he can hear just fine. He's a real piece of shit. That's
He's
really
such a
the main thing
fucking
about him.
prick.
Even if
Max
he
is,
is right that something's wrong, but
yeah,
still, come on,
he,
Daniel.
before they even thought anything was wrong, he was prepared to be a dick anyway. But Max
Yeah.
is like the world's cutest kid. She's so fucking cute. Her face is cute. Like her mannerisms are cute. I love Max and I feel so sorry for her for everything that happens to her before and during this movie. And the actress is actually she actually is legally deaf. But same
Oh,
situation. Like I think she had some sort of operation done, I read, that she like can hear enough to read lips as well. So that's actually her real life situation.
nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Um, what are John and Kate's jobs? It feels weird calling them John and Kate because it's like that fucking show, right? Where they have like too
Yeah.
many children.
Maybe say Kate and John instead.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Kate is, I think, like a songwriter, a composer of some sort.
Well, yes, but so
Oh,
she
she taught at
was a
Yale
teacher. Yeah,
too.
she taught at Yale. And then John, I don't think they ever say what his job is, but apparently he's doing something right because their house is gorgeous. I mean, they are in Connecticut, but it's a nice house.
He's like an artist of some sort, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
What fucking music teacher and painter for that goddamn
Yeah,
house.
this movie can fuck off with its lies.
But kind of given all of that, like, and all that trauma of like, having like a stillborn child, especially that late, into the pregnancy, like, feels like the family is coping okay and getting along
Yeah,
all right.
as well as they
Um,
can.
even still, they're like, let's get a third child. So they go to the orphan school nearby that basically, I don't know, just like lets adults walk in and just, pick from the lot, just be like, I'll take that little runt. That one looks okay. Gosh, even with John being a real asshole coming in, that snow orphan joke,
What does he say? I don't remember his joke.
he looks at the snowman when he walks in, he just chuckles to himself, and it's like, oh, it's a snow orphan. Snorphin.
Oh yeah, and she laughs. She laughs at his joke.
Terrible.
You of course skipped something that is of interest to me right off the
Sure.
bat, of course. The saddest attempt at sex I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, she's not really feeling it, and I don't blame her, I guess.
I think it's important to point that out because things change throughout the movie, but I just have to say, like, clearly their relationship isn't in a good place. But he literally just looks at her and like rubs her shoulder and he's like, no, not tonight. Okay. And I'm like, men,
He's he's
do
pretty
better.
understanding.
He's a little too understanding. Like, you gotta at least try something. Like, you can't just like look
Yeah.
at her and be like, you want this or not? I'm sure every married man does that. But
Hmm.
I just wanted to point that out because I really hated that.
That will change, like her
Yep.
stipulation is like, look, it doesn't even have to be like my biological child. I need a third child in this house to make me horny.
Yes.
That's the only way I can make it happen. No more, no less.
Yeah,
It can't happen. I'm sorry. And the only
exactly.
times I was having sex with you was to get to those three children. And
Yeah.
yeah, um, so they're at the school for orphan girls. Um, and again, everyone just has adults will just have free roam to just walk around through this mansion of a school or whatever, just
Yeah.
to pick their child.
And just talk to these kids randomly without any supervision.
So John goes upstairs, and of course, Sister Abigail, who is like the lead sister, lead nun, or something like that, as far as
Hmm.
like orphan coordination, I suppose.
Hmm.
Um, she, you know, she's like, no, 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 no. We kept her upstairs for a reason. Do not. Sister Judith, I told you to put the rope in front of the stairs so no one would go up there. Put up the sign. But he
She wanted to get rid of Esther for sure.
oh, definitely. So Esther is singing and John can hear it, and that's what lures him to this classroom where she's just sitting
Hmm.
by herself, um, painting and telling some story about orphan lions, I think, finding their
Hmm.
family again, I guess. And then John's just like, "Oh my God, you're incredible. This is you're a
Her paintings
Picasso."
are good for a girl of her age.
Yes.
I mean, a girl of her presumed age.
Like, I guess, no, I guess you have the time, if you're like in an institution or wherever she's actually been these like 30 years or whatever, um, to like learn how to play piano like that, to paint like
Hmm.
that, to, I don't know, learn English like super like proficiently like that,
Yeah. Well, I
you
mean,
know?
she's psychotic, so I think it's safe to say that she probably is very dedicated when she decide like puts her mind to something. Like she's like, I gotta learn how to speak English. Like she enjoys painting. So
Like I'm thinking all of the days and that it took Bill Murray to like learn French and play piano and do all the shit that he does in Groundhog Day. I think that takes way longer than it takes Esther to learn how to do this, but I don't know.
maybe.
So, Sister Abigail goes into the classroom and, sees that now Kate has joined John and
Hmm.
Esther, and her telling her, sharing her profound wisdom and this and this and this and this. Um, of course, at first, Sister Abigail's like, ooh, ooh, not that one, not that one. Whoa, whoa.
Yeah,
We
she
locked
comes
we
into the
locked this
room.
door.
She comes into the room looking real worried, but then starts to melt away those reservations when she sees that they're actually kind of like gelling.
Well, she sees the opportunity to get rid of her and it's just like,
Uh-huh.
that's pretty tempting. We could do this. She does keep setting fires and just being around when anyone has a broken limb. So, ugh.
Yeah.
But they're just like, hey, let's make our pick. Let's do it. They go with Esther. Let's come back in 3 weeks, which they do.
Mhm.
They adopt her, take her home. Um, I guess I don't know. I don't know if I know anybody that is adopted, but I don't know if they did like like not like birthdays, but like, they had like gifts for her when she came home and stuff. They like threw like a little party, kind of like it was her birthday or something.
It's probably her like maybe they were doing like a gotcha day like celebration for her.
Do you do that for humans?
Some people do. Yeah. If they're old enough,
Do
like
they
they'll do
call it that?
birthday. I think so. Now, I'm
Hmm.
not adopted that I know of, so I I don't have a gotcha day, but I've heard of people like saying that about humans, but you celebrate their birthday as well.
Well, I guess I don't have the experience to know, but it doesn't seem to sit right calling it that.
I think that when it comes to this movie and adoption, it's safe to say that a lot of things won't sit right.
Really, it
Um,
probably should have started with that. But like a gotcha day is because like a dog can't tell you its birthday. So you're like,
yeah,
"Oh, we'll
but you
just
can
go."
still you can still celebrate the day that that person became part of your family.
I suppose so. I just would call it something else.
I assumed it was her actual birthday because not that they adopted her on her birthday, because it seemed like time had passed.
Well, the 3 weeks that Sister Abigail talks about. Maybe she was just like, "Hey, look, sorry, these are the rules. You can only adopt them on their birthday, just so it just feels right." Having that
I
line
don't
up when
know.
they're first day in your house. I don't know. I don't think that's true. But
I mean, she's coming into a really good situation. Like she's coming into this big ass house.
yeah,
She's got like, I mean, before things start going wrong, like John and Kate seem to be a pretty good situation to walk into.
I think so.
Hmm.
And all that closet space for her doll clothes that she brought, or human-sized
Hmm.
doll clothes.
Hmm.
How many outfits did she bring all those outfits with her?
Yeah, where did she get all those outfits, I wonder? I'm like, did she take those all the way from Estonia?
Yeah, because like Kate, like when she comes down, like to go to school in that outfit, Kate's just like, hey, hey, you're already walking into a lot, and kids are going to make fun of you if you're dressed like that.
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to do this? I will buy you
Yeah.
clothes. Um, in so many words. And she's just like, no, I'm good. I got this. It's good to
Yeah.
be different, right, mommy? And she's like, fuck. Yeah, I did say that.
Yeah. She's like, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
murder anyone who makes fun of me anyway, so we're good.
Yeah. And I mean, Esther gets along with Max pretty well. Doesn't get along with Daniel, but Daniel's feeling a little jealous because he's like trying to show off
Oh,
his like guitar hero shreddage. And no one wants to
like
hear it, dude. You're
no,
not that good.
that's what I said. I was like, no one gives a shit about your Guitar Hero solo when we just adopted a child. Like, come on.
Yeah. Tell
He's very
me,
jealous.
tell me when you can fucking 5-star fucking Dragon Force on hard and then fucking get to me. So get the fuck out of here.
Oh my gosh.
But hey, but like I said, we've got a third kid, and you know what that means. Remember what I said?
Uh-huh. She's down to fuck now.
Yeah, now she's just creeping, like he's asleep, and she just starts creeping in and
Yeah.
starts going to town downtown.
Yeah, she
And
does.
then oof, and he's like, yes. But then it sucks because the only two times that they do, they get thwarted by fucking children.
It does suck, first of all. And
Yeah, that's why
it's like it's like she has a sense for it whenever they're like getting freaky. Like she's just like listening for heavy breathing because she conveniently interrupts very quickly.
Yeah, and of course it gets extra uncomfortable later when you learn that it's like, not just because she's just a weird kid, but
Hmm.
she's an adult that like I guess it's like part of her MO is to infiltrate the house and then kill the mother and
That
get with the dad, pretty
that's
much.
her whole MO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, I think I just need to see. I need to see more success out of that approach before I can buy into it because it doesn't seem to
Sh-
be working for her very often, if at
She's
all.
not gonna have success. Like, if she
Right.
does, then there's something wrong with that man.
Daniel's just being an asshole on his own. The next day, he's got his paintball
Hmm.
gun and he's fucking shooting targets and stuff. And then he goes and shoots a pigeon. Um, he was like, "Oh, I didn't think I was gonna kill it." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but you knew you were gonna
Bullshit.
fucking hurt it, dude. Like, what the fuck?" So at least Esther shows up, and then this is when they start seeing like, okay, Esther might be actually a little weird because she comes up and she's hardcore about it. She's like, "Well, this is what you did. Put it out of its misery.
I mean, she's not wrong.
Here's a rock." She's not wrong, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
so like I would think if I were the parents, I'd be like, Esther, that's a little brutal, but I hear you. I get you. But maybe we don't need to bash it with a rock. I think still just like come get us is probably the best answer.
Yeah. I'm
But Daniel, what
assuming
the fuck?
I'm assuming that Daniel didn't share the story because he didn't want to admit that he shot the bird.
Right.
But I mean, if he's old enough to be playing with a paintball gun unsupervised, then there's a chance he's going to do some dumb shit like that, like as a young, stupid kid. Which is exactly why, like, I don't know that I would hand over a paintball gun to my son or let him have a tree house. Tree houses are for porn or murder. Like, that's like your
Mm,
only two options, or for smoking pot. Like, those are the three things. You're gonna smoke weed, you're gonna have porn, and you're gonna murder. You could do all three or just one of the three.
yeah,
Yeah. So Daniel's just I can't stand that kid. I kind of wish she would have smothered him in the hospital. But
little,
maybe that's just
maybe a little
me.
bit. Well, yeah.
Skipping ahead.
Nah. So Kate is also, I mean, honestly, whether this child that they adopted was a secret 30-year-old serial killer or not, clearly you can tell this family is not ready to adopt a child because
No.
even like Kate like, flies off the handle pretty quick at all of her children for shit.
Yeah.
And it's like even before like, she like grabs her arm and starts like, going after
Hmm.
um fucking what's her face? Esther.
Hmm.
Um
Well, let's like something that is troubling to me too with Kate.
uh
So she's obviously she's a recovering alcoholic. That's not the troubling part. That's just part of what she's going through. And other than her therapist, she's not seeking professional help. Like she's not in an AA program or anything like that. Like she didn't go to rehab, nothing like that. But it's interesting to me that they were able to adopt knowing the incident that happened with Max. Like those are her own children, so keeping your own children after like certain incidents, like it's hard for a mother to have her children taken away, but to be able to adopt after an incident like that feels really unrealistic to me.
no, no, no. I couldn't say.
Yeah. So it's just and it's interesting, but she also, yeah, I think because she's in early stages of recovery, it seems, and she's still going through a grief process, like she does fly off the handle really easily. And you know what? John should have been a little bit smarter and said like, I don't know that we're ready, even though it's like maybe you're not ready. I think they jumped the gun a little bit.
Let's see. We've got, a brief scene just seeing what, Esther's life is at the school.
Mm.
She's getting bullied because of her
Oh,
doll dress and the ribbons that she wears.
that little
And those
fucking
kids,
girl,
yeah, she's gonna get it.
that little bitch, she is a mean little girl. I do not
Yeah.
like her. I mean, she kind of had it coming, but like, wait, why are you bullying people? Leave her alone.
At home, we learn a little bit more also about Jessica, who was the daughter
Mhm.
that was stillborn. Um, we see that there's this rose bush inside. What is this room called? Is it the conservatory, like in Clue, or what do you
It's
call
no,
it?
it's a greenhouse.
Greenhouse. Okay. Because
Hmm.
I kept wanting to call it a green room, and I was like, no, that's like
Hmm.
backstage,
Yeah.
you know?
It's attached
Um,
to their home. So it's a greenhouse that's attached to your home. There is a name for it, but it's
I
still a
think you're
greenhouse.
right. But she shows this rose bush and this little plaque dedicated to Jessica, explains
Hmm.
how, as long as these roses grow, she's gonna be with us. I
Hmm.
don't know, kind of situation. Her memory lives on. I don't know, something to that degree. Though
Hmm.
those roses would eventually die,
Yeah, I was
right?
thinking the same thing. Like roses don't bloom year round,
Yeah, and bloom and
right?
just like stay bloomed and just grow taller and taller and taller, or like just
Yeah. Like the
stay fully
plant.
bloomed forever.
So actually one of the interesting things about rose bushes is that in order, like especially in a cold state, I know it's inside, but you're supposed to cut them down, like down to the bottom of the plant once a year, once every other year. So it's maybe not the best choice of plant for that purpose.
And then they feel like they're having like some sort of a connection here. But
Hmm.
Esther's like, ooh, this is the sweet spot. I'm gonna use this against her later. It's gonna
Oh
be real
yeah.
good.
He's really
Um,
good at like strategically handling these emotional moments and then using them to manipulate the situation later.
that night, hey, see now John's getting a little frisky. Now he's like, ooh, now that
Hmm.
he knows it's on the table, like, and he knows that there's like a good
Hmm.
chance. Now he's like, hey, what's up? What's up, girl? How you living? Let's put
We'll
you on this
fuck in this
counter.
kitchen.
Ooh, bad
You got
idea.
you got three kids. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I have one child. And if there is one thing that's just not going to happen, you're not having sex in the kitchen. Whether it's daytime, nighttime, it's not happening if your child is in the house. And then you have three of them, even though one's deaf, it doesn't matter. Like you're not going to get away with it.
Yeah. Which they don't, right? Because
No.
Esther's been up and Esther's just watching and lurking and creeping
Uh,
and perving as she does. Um, Kate's like, we gotta talk about this. And then Esther's like,
oh, I
no,
love
we
this.
don't. It's okay, people fuck. And then Kate's like, what are you saying here?
It's just, I know they fuck.
Yeah. So yeah, so Esther doesn't want to hear anything about it. And I think
Mhm.
this is when, and then, I guess, yeah, just her saying they fuck is enough to start making Kate suspicious of being
It
like,
is a
something's
red
up with this
flag.
child.
Yeah, it's
Is
a red
it?
flag. I'll tell you why. So again, like Esther is of similar age to my son, and like he uses profanity. He actively does. He thinks I don't know, but he does. And I did at that age too. But I didn't refer to sex as fucking at that age. Or like you know what I mean? Like it's the way Kate even says it. She says it's the way she used it. Like she knew like how to use it and what it meant. Whereas, like, if you just say, like, fuck you, or you drop something and you say fuck, that's different than using it in, like, a sexual context. So I think that's where she's like, okay, it doesn't mean she's a 33-year-old woman, but it may mean that the family that she was with before was saying some very inappropriate and maybe overtly sexual things in front of the child. So I think that's more what she's thinking is going on.
So later we're at the playground. John takes both Esther and Max to the playground.
This
Um,
is interesting.
you got the neighbor who's trying to hit on John. John definitely reading the room and being like, maybe me and
John
Kate will come by.
definitely has fucked her before. Absolutely.
Do you think that's the person that he? No,
I
because
don't
it
think
was
that's
revealed that he.
I don't
Okay.
think that's the person he cheated with, but like the way that she is talking to him and the way that he's talking to her back is like something happened in the past, but he's like, that's done. Like I'm a changed man. Like that's what I read. And Esther read it too, because she's also a woman in her 30s.
So maybe that even if she wasn't the person that he cheated on Kate with, 10 years ago,
Hmm.
she knows like, oh, this guy has no
Yeah,
little, yeah.
I think he got around a little bit. And he's
Hmm.
like, and that's why he says, like, yeah, Kate and I will come by. Like, he's like saying, like, we're not doing that anymore. Yeah.
So,
That's my guess.
so he just goes off to have a cigarette at this
I
playground.
know at the park.
Yeah.
Like, this is 2009. Wasn't it already illegal to smoke in parks?
I think he only smokes in inappropriate places. It's like at the park or like in his house, which I mean, like, I guess it's his house. He can do whatever he
Yeah.
wants, but
Yeah.
there are children in this house.
Hmm.
So, um, so we see that girl that was bullying her
Oh,
earlier, or bullying Esther. And then you got this like, you kind of could have cut the scene a little bit short where you
it's
you have
so
this kind of
long.
suspenseful kind of cat and mouse thing of, following, this girl through this playground or this playground
Hmm.
fixture structure, what have you, until like an idiot stands like right at the edge of the slide. And then what do you think was going to happen?
And also, like, maybe you wouldn't be have to be so paranoid at the park if you didn't have so many fucking enemies. Like, why are you treating people like shit?
Yeah, you can't just fuck people like that and then just go to the park willy-nilly and just think you fucking
Yeah.
own the place. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That is
You're
not
gonna
how
get
it works.
pushed.
That's not it's not playground law. And so what she does, and ooh, you do see the shot of her ankle like snapping.
Oh, yeah. That looks pretty
And then her
bad.
just falling to the ground. And of
Yeah.
course she's like, this girl absolutely fucking pushed me.
Yeah.
Max sees it too,
Hmm.
but Max is no snitch.
No, I like that about Max because at this point, Esther hasn't done anything to wrong Max. She's now like, oh, this is my sister. Like, I'm gonna cover for her,
Yeah.
which is
So
solid.
yeah, see, and that's why I'm like, Esther, you didn't even have to threaten her. But I like that
Yeah.
Esther recognizes, like, ooh, okay, so she could be my accomplice to certain things. I just need to,
Yeah.
I don't
Gain a
know.
little trust.
Later that night, they're at dinner and they're like, yeah, Esther, did you push that girl? Of course, she says it's an accident. Daniel, meanwhile, is being a real fucking prick, and it's like, yeah,
Oh
okay, is
God.
he right that something's off and something's weird that we can't trust about
Yeah,
Esther? Sure, but do we have to use the slurs? Come
I
on,
know. He
dude.
says like send her back to the R word camp where she belongs. And I'm like, bro,
And the
what?
fa and the parents don't correct him on that. Get the fuck out of here. It's like
They're
the
they're
aughts, man. They're
very
terrible.
it took them like way too long to be like, hey, like cut that shit out. He I wonder if Daniel would have been a little bit more level-headed if any like the mom would have listened to him a little more because she was already feeling kind of uneasy.
Yeah.
But no, he has to go to complete just like I'm a dick. This is what I'm doing. I don't know how old Daniel's supposed to be. I'm assuming he's supposed to be a little older, maybe like 12.
Yeah. So he can't even fucking think straight. He's all just like a
Yeah.
mess of just uncontrolled hormones
Yeah.
just rushing in and out. So, um, and then, Esther, I just don't understand what her game plan is. Again, like I understand, like, sure, what her preferred end goal is, but you could just be much more, like, she sometimes certain things she does, like, you're not even pretending that
Hmm.
you're a child anymore at this point. Like, did you have to let everybody know that all of a sudden you fucking shred on the piano and then has to be all snarky about it to Kate being like, I didn't say I didn't know how to play. I just said I'd let you teach me.
Oh,
Sucks because
sweet,
one kid's
sweet,
deaf and the other one doesn't give a fuck.
sweet, sweet Kyle. This is her playing female mind games because she is a woman, not a child. She is working Kate so that she can separate the wife and the husband. Like it's very strategic, it's very manipulative, it's genius, in fact. Like she's she knows exactly what she's doing. What she needs to cut out though, like she didn't need to push the bully. Like now you're just drawing attention to yourself. But
Yeah.
again, she's mentally unstable, so like she's doing wild stuff, man. Like,
We learn a little bit about, John and Kate's relationship. I mean, some issues that we'd already talked about already. There
hmm.
was an issue where due to her drinking, um, an accident happened involving Max where she could
Mm.
have died. Jon had to save her out of this lake. So, of course, she's very, she escalates from 0 to 100 if she sees those kids ever near that lake, the frozen one.
Hmm.
Put a fence.
I
Come on.
I would
If,
have
if it's
divorced
not big
her
a deal
at
to you.
I would have divorced her at that point if I were John. I'd be like, nah, girl. Like, we're
Really?
done. That would have been enough for me. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
If my
that's
kid
pretty
ended up
tough.
being deaf because they almost died in a lake because my wife or husband was drunk, passed out, we're done. There's no coming back from
Oh,
that.
I'm so dumb. I missed that point. Is that why she's deaf?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
She
that's
wasn't
bad.
born deaf.
Whoops.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's rough. Okay. And here I'm just like, accidents happen. What can you do? Kids are kids.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That's it's pretty messed up. And then I love that they reveal that Esther talked to Kate about fucking Joyce Patterson, the
yeah,
HOA lady at the park. Like again, strategically sharing things that
yeah.
like if that were her daughter or if that was his daughter, she wouldn't have said anything.
So Sister Abigail having a change of heart, being like, you know what? Maybe it isn't the best idea to just pass this problem on to somebody else. Goes back and says, y'all, I've made a real big mistake. I don't think I should have let you come home with this child. Um, she's just associated with a lot of fires and a lot of just broken bones and
Accidents in general.
kids getting impaled on scissors. And yeah, it's
Like they couldn't have like find a more private place to have this conversation.
right. And because, of course, like, Esther's picking up on all of this. And of
Oh
course, it's
yeah.
like, well, guess we need to fucking take out Sister Abigail.
Hmm.
And at least, Kate's like, well, okay, let's go to Dr. Browning. Jon, of course, never trusting her entirely and kind of always shrugging
Hmm.
everything off. He's always just like, oh my God, it's
Hmm.
fine. She's a child. Children push children and retaliate. It happens sometimes. Sometimes ankles break. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, we all have regrets. But Sister Abigail's like, all right, well, you let me know if anything comes up. I'm gonna head home or back to the orphanage school.
Hmm.
We'll play it by ear. She doesn't make it very far.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, I was thinking something was gonna happen with just how icy those roads look all the time anyway.
Yeah.
Um, but they're like, Esther enlists Max to go out there to the bridge that's outside of the house.
Hmm.
Um, as Sister Abigail is driving away, they're able to catch her and go out in front of the car. Um, they're like, hey, we're just going to scare her. Don't even worry about it. Max is like, okay, this is a little weird, but if you're saying that she's going to take you away forever, I'll support you because I want a sister,
Hmm.
kids, trusting and shit. Esther's like, okay, good, and just pushes her out into the middle of the road.
Damn, I know. Poor Max just getting fucked from every angle, man. I feel so bad for this girl. And then, like, Sister Abigail, all you would have had to do was meet in a public place on a school day and have this conversation privately, and you could have been alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It's, hey, social work, it's not, I come from that trade. And it's, there's uh, it's you gotta be safe sometimes.
Hmm.
Not against anything like that, but I don't know. They're just some realities. But she, of course, spins out, crashes the car,
Mm.
sees Max in the middle of the road. She's like, "What the fuck are you doing here?"
Hmm.
Earlier, Esther goes down to their shed or the garage, the basement, I think, grabs a hammer from the tool set,
Hmm.
uses that, bam, hits her right across the head. And I forgot that she didn't die there. There's more
I
bludgeoning that happens
know.
later. Um,
Hmm.
man, fucking knocks her out with this hammer and then turns to Max and just like, all right, grab the other leg. We're gonna hide this body. Max is like,
No. The amount
all the therapy.
the amount of trauma that this poor little girl goes through in this short amount of time, like the dad ends up dead, and I still think that Max gets it the worst because she gets all the psychological fuckery.
She makes a pact with Max, being like, "Hey, I'll fucking kill your mom if you tell anybody." How's that
Hmm.
sound? And she's like, "Oh, okay." This is terrifying, but okay for
Uh-huh.
now. Um, so they go up to the treehouse, they pull out some floorboards and hide the evidence,
Yeah, because
like the
tree houses are
hammer and
for
all the bloody
murder
shit. Yeah, well, for hiding murder. Maybe not for the murder
and
itself.
and for some actual murder in some cases.
True. So while they're sorting this out and hiding the body, Daniel sees Esther.
Yep.
But I don't know if he sees anything in particular, but he sees her like doing
He
something
just Yeah, he just
shady.
sees her in and out of the treehouse, which already the treehouse is locked because he got in trouble.
Yeah.
So no one should be going to the treehouse. So he knows something's up, but I don't think he thinks that it's Sister Abigail, being dead.
So Daniel didn't know that Esther saw him, but he'll find out very, very quick because that night, dang, dude, he wakes up just like with a fucking knife to his throat.
Oh, I love it.
Just being, I'm gonna cut off your little dick.
She says, I'll cut your hairless little prick off before you even know what it's for. That's such a good line. That little
Dang,
girl had to say that.
I'd pee myself too.
Yes, she's
It's terrifying.
terrifying.
So she's got basically both the kids now under her, whatever. Like
Under her
she's got them
threat.
threatened enough. Yeah.
Hmm.
They do visit Dr. Browning the next day. First, Dr.
Yeah.
Browning meets with Esther, and then after, Esther leaves, then Dr. Browning meets with Jon and Kate, Kate and John. Um, and still, this is where I'm like, Dr. Browning, fuck you. And
Yeah.
she's like, dang, sounds, I talked to Esther. Sounds like everything's your fault, Kate.
Yeah, she literally does say that.
You drunk or what? What's going on? Do we need to put you in rehab? I can hospitalize you.
She, well, and I would think if she was a good doctor that she would have that conversation with Esther and say, maybe it would be a good idea if Esther met with a child therapist, somebody who, specializes in pediatric mental health instead of
Right.
myself, before she just goes and starts blaming Kate. But again, this is a woman like faking as a child. So I guess she outsmarts this therapist.
But just knows the right things to say. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
I mean,
But
she's been in an institute for a while, so clearly she's probably spent a lot of time with them.
and John, he's fucking feeling real proud of himself because he's like, I didn't even
Uh-huh.
want to go to Dr. Browning, and now that we're at Dr. Browning's place, Dr. Browning's saying that it's your fault. So,
Uh-huh.
hmm, can you please, take some accountability or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
which is not a good look, John.
No, he's a lot. Like his character isn't super convincing for me because he doesn't see her side or recognize any red flags whatsoever. And that just feels unbelievable to me. Like they could have given him a couple moments of doubt where he like shrugged things off, but instead he is just completely sold with this story of Esther, this little girl that he's met just recently versus his wife, and noticing that his children are acting completely off their normal behavior.
So even before they can process any of this, they learn the sister Abigail not only never made it back to the orphanage,
Oh,
but they found out she's fucking murdered.
she's murdered as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, like they were like, yeah, this is, and then of course, like John's like, oh, who the fuck would do that? That's terrible.
Yeah, you're the last
Mhm.
people to see her alive.
Yeah. Now, this is when Kate's like, I think this little fucking girl killed this woman because she's hearing all this shit about violence, this and this and this and that.
Mhm.
So she starts doing her, her little Google montage, of like
Mhm.
learning about different, um, social disorders, and then I think just Googling children who kill, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like real worried.
And then, of course, this is when you also see that Abigail's paintings, which I'm not entirely sure how this was not seen earlier by anybody, but if you turn the lights off and have a black light, which is, I think, the black light from the aquarium,
Hmm.
you start seeing that all of her paintings that look like, just very nice child paintings are spooky, mean paintings.
They don't show that yet. That's not till the end of the movie.
No, I think they show like the first.
Oh, they show her like flipping the light on and off, but no one discovers it.
No, no, it isn't
Yeah,
discovered
yeah.
until like by John
Hmm.
at the very end.
Yeah,
But so Kate's like, fuck Dr. Browning.
yeah. Honestly, yeah, she's right.
I'm gonna go figure this out myself, and I'm gonna go play detective.
Hmm.
Um, she reaches out to this Russian orphanage that allegedly Esther came from, and of course, they've got no fucking record of her ever existing.
Hmm.
So, and then also, or at least, and then finding out that I think it's not even an orphanage; it's a mental institution. Or is that where the other place at the end? I forget that she got the Bible from.
They she finds out that it's an institution right then, but John's response is like obviously there's some sort of mistake. Or maybe that is at the end. But I think either way, she doesn't have her real name or a photo to them. So yeah, they wouldn't know.
Kate's also starting to interrogate the kids a little bit, being like, "Hey, have y'all noticed shit being a little weird?" And of course, these kids are
Hmm.
terrorized now, so they're like, "Nope, nope, we didn't see shit. Don't even worry about it, Mom. Everything's cool." I
Yeah,
would think,
they're acting so off and like worried. You know something was wrong. I would not
yeah,
leave her alone with my children at all
I know
at that
that's.
point.
I'd be like, "Can y'all just like blink once or twice just to
Yeah.
let me know that something's up? You don't have to tell me
Like
exactly."
not to, you know, I mean, Kate's a fictional character, so I'll go ahead. Like you're not working currently. I'm gonna need you to keep your eyes on your children at all times. If you think you have like a child in the house that might kill people, you can keep your eyes on your children. You can wait outside the school. You can be with them at home. Be with them 24/7. I, yeah, I can't with Kate.
So I can't with John either. He had one fucking job, and it was to take her to the dentist. She kept
Ugh,
avoiding it, and because they're gonna find out that she has fake ass teeth that cover her
yeah,
gross ass teeth, so she
yeah.
does need to go to the dentist.
Hmm.
And she's like, I don't want to go. And then John's like, well, okay, but you have to come down and watch me paint. Which I'm like, okay, well, sure, weirdo. And he does it in this very relaxed Peter Sarsgaard way, where you're just like, okay. So maybe I don't want to relate to him so much. Um, they're talking and Esther shares again like just I feel like I'm not connecting with Kate. Is she upset with me? John's like, nah, 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 just but just do something nice for her, figure something out, like some show of thank you, even though I don't think it's the responsibility of the child to do that.
Absolutely not. That's terrible advice. Like you try to win your adopted mother over by doing something nice for her. No, that's not good advice.
So John really set her up for failure because I don't think you
Mhm.
need to be a murderous 30-year-old to go and pick nice roses that you think are important to
Mhm.
her. Like, I think that would be an easy slip up of a child that like was new to the home and didn't understand and just went and picked flowers. But of course, Esther's doing it to be a fucking jerk,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
think
pretty
it
good.
could be like something that a child would do for sure. But also the fact that she knows exactly what she's doing, like, oh, that is so fucking hardcore. She cuts every single rose off of that plant. If she would have even left a couple, then maybe you could forgive her a little bit, but she cut every single rose off. And it's hilarious because Kate fucking loses her shit.
And I'm like, I get it, but that's not how you respond and react. Um,
No, you can't react that way. My son, when he was a toddler, I showed him a plant that I had propagated from a little tiny leaf and was like, look, it's grown into this beautiful succulent. Like, it took years for it to get this way. And he was like, wow, it's so beautiful. The next day, he pulled it into little pieces and scattered it all over the yard. I was so fucking livid. Trust me, I wanted to react like Kate, like, really, you little fucker? You pulled apart my plant after I told you how special it was to me? I didn't, though. I just said, I'm really disappointed that you did this when you knew it was really important to mommy. And inside I was full of rage, but I reacted appropriately. Now, Kate obviously does not love this child as much as she loves her children.
no, so she's like, I mean, granted, she didn't break any bones, but man, she throws Esther to the ground
Oh, yeah, she does.
and she's like ready to fucking fight her. And yeah. And then John, I'm just, John. He'd be like, yeah, this is my fault. I'm sorry. I don't like,
He did say it was his fault.
which is good because I mean, what you should do is like, hey, let's go to somewhere and like let's go I'll pick out or you pick out something and we'll buy a gift for your mother. You
Yeah.
know, let's do that. Like not it's not like,
Get creative, kid.
yeah, make her come downstairs to watch you paint and then say like, "Ah, you go figure it out." I don't
Yeah.
know, go do something to make her happy. You'll figure it out.
Hmm.
Go win her love. Leave me alone. So Esther, of course, then takes it a step further,
Oh,
goes, oh, this is rough, goes
oh,
and
it's so
fucking
bad.
puts her arm in whatever the fuck that thing is,
It's a vice.
a vice, yeah, just
Mhm.
cranks it to the point where her
Ugh.
fucking forearm breaks. Ugh,
That's commitment.
that is commitment because that shit hurts, I would
Yeah,
think.
it's hard to watch. Like, that's too much. I think she could have just maybe bruised herself a little bit and made it look bad, but the broken arm, oof.
Well, my understanding is that she was avoidant of going to the dentist and seeing doctors because they'd figure out her age.
Hmm.
But why would I just don't understand why she would break her arm because that would absolutely, and it
Mm,
does require a hospital visit or an
you're
emergency room
right.
visit,
But they're
right?
not
To
going to
like,
examine her whole body and her teeth for a broken arm.
they'd be like, man,
No,
you got strong adult bones.
no, I don't think well, because her disease that she has like keeps her with like a small frame. So I would think that her bones are like childlike bones. They're not going to be
Maybe.
looking for those things.
Hmm.
Mm-mm. They got to get people in and out of that emergency room.
But yeah, she fucking breaks her own arm and fucking
Ugh.
frames Kate. That's rough. So John's not fucking having it. He's like,
Oh, he's
hey,
pissed.
yeah, he's pissed. It is weird when she's like, yeah, he's sleeping up here with me. Maybe you go somewhere else. Or she is, and just closes
Hmm.
the door on her,
Exactly what Esther wants.
just alone in bed with John. Oh, Jesus
Hmm.
Christ. That's
Yeah, gross.
awful. Um, and it's a lot of stress on poor Kate here
Hmm.
and drives her to start almost drinking again. She doesn't do it.
Almost back on that bottle, but
Yeah, bottles. I
yeah,
like how she was like, however long it's been she's had a drink. She's like, I don't want to risk the fact that even if my tolerance is low, I'm just gonna just get two bottles just in case, just if I need to pound through that second one too.
yep.
But she pours the glass and then she's like, you know what, fuck it. It's not driving me to this, which hey, good for her.
Good for
She
her.
pours it all
Yeah.
out.
I blame her fucking husband.
Yeah. So the next day, this is when that she fucks with the car when Max is inside, right? Because she's
Love
dropping
this.
Daniel off at school. Daniel's books all fall out of a hole in the bottom of his backpack. Wonder
I
who
wonder how
caused
that
that,
got there.
right? She's like, I just bought this fucking backpack, dude. What are you
A
doing?
mystery.
Right? And then in the meantime, fucking Esther just fucking puts the car in neutral and gets out with Max sitting in the back and just lets it start rolling backwards.
Oh, poor Max. Again,
Dang.
this little girl just gets so many terrible things. I do love that random guy though, who really
Yeah.
gave it his all. Like he was ready to fucking jump in that car and stop it, but he fell.
Yeah. I hope that like I don't know. I hope he negotiated like, hey, for this part, like I don't get big parts in things, and this is going to be really like my hero moment. And I understand that I'm not going to be able to save this child, but can you at least like let me get like real close? Like people
Yeah.
think for a second, like, hey, he's going to get there, he's going to do it, you know? But I don't know.
I thought he was.
Good on him.
Yeah.
He's the only one that really cared about the livelihood of children in this movie.
I know because even Kate is not running as fast as he is. That's not even his car or his child.
No. Um, so Dr. Browning comes over after this and is being real fucking
Oh,
judgy with John, being like, hey, we found the wine bottle. Of course, that looks bad because she's like, no, it's not empty because I drank it. It's empty because I poured it out. And that other one's just there. I didn't do anything with it. See, it's still closed.
it's
Get
the
them off my fucking
worst.
back about it.
Yeah, it's like the worst intervention I've ever seen. They're so terrible to her. And I think I was trying to look at it from John's perspective to see if like, okay, if I had only seen the things that he has seen, would I, would I feel this way about Kate? And I just can't. Like I can't see it from his point of view. Like
Yeah.
I just think he's completely in the wrong here because there are situations where, with people and with children, they might act differently with one person than another. So he has to consider that a possibility. And so does the fucking therapist. She
Such
should
a
know
bad
that.
therapist. Yeah,
Yeah,
all
they're
of a sudden,
terrible.
fucking John's on Dr. Browning's side. And you're just like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I
Ugh.
I would have said, John, you didn't even want to go to see fucking Dr. Browning. Did he ever tell you that? Did he ever
Yeah.
tell you that?
He
But
calls you a quack when you're not
yeah.
around.
So John, again, not having it. He's like, you need to go to rehab or I'm taking the kids.
Oh,
Which I'm like, I don't know if like you get to like just do that. I don't know how
you
that works.
you can, but then you get the law involved, is how
Right.
it works. Yeah.
So Mac's still covering, saying that,
Hmm.
I won't tell anybody. Of course, Esther, maybe this is when Esther threatens to kill Kate if she ever fucking, tells anybody. But I don't know if it was established earlier that Max also makes drawings. There's a lot of children drawings in paintings. And it's one thing that's like, I'll be honest, like, while I like it in a movie like Sinister, I do feel like it's a super lazy trope in horror movies to have
Yeah.
kids like explain context via crayon stick figures. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know that it actually is a thing that can happen with children. I've never experienced it myself that I know of. But if Max is that worried about her safety and her mother's safety, maybe don't draw all of the crimes. How's that?
Yeah, it's not even like they were like that hidden. You could still see them like
Yeah, she just like
obviously
grabs it like
sticking
real
behind.
casual from a shelf.
Yeah, you can still see like the big corner of them sticking out. But she
Yeah.
shows those to Daniel because Daniel's just like, hey, we need to come up with some sort of fucking plan because we
Just
need to have mom
yelling.
and dad help us. We got to figure out something. So
Yeah,
she shares that with him.
he's like interrogating her full volume. She can't
Yeah, he's dumb.
hear, so you don't need to do that. Like you can just sign to her or mouth your words. But guess who can hear you? Esther down
I
the hall.
I don't know if I see Daniel sign to her. Does he?
He did a little bit in that conversation. So I think he knows a
Okay.
little bit of signing, but he just doesn't put the effort because he's a fucking dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel's like, okay, I know where the evidence is. It's in the
Hmm.
treehouse. I'm gonna go investigate there. Um, Now Kate, I think is like, wasn't she's like getting a bag. I think she's ready to try and take the kids. and get them
Maybe.
out of the house. I don't know
Hmm.
because she has a bag and she goes into into Max's room, and then you see fucking she turns on the light and it's fucking Esther sitting there in the corner.
Yeah, maybe she was packing her own bag. I mean, maybe
Maybe.
yeah, maybe she was gonna take the
Or
kids.
packing her own bag and maybe trying to, just saying goodbye to Max or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
But you got Esther in the corner, and Esther's
Love it.
like really not hiding anything anymore.
Ooh, it's so good.
Maybe not showing all the cards, like she's, still doesn't show that she's in her 30s,
Yeah.
but she reveals like, "Oh, I'm absolutely fucking with you
Yeah.
and trying to delete you from this family."
Hmm.
Um,
Well,
and
when
then
she reads her journal.
oh yeah, taunts her with it and shit, and oh, it's pretty bad. And then of course Esther's like, "What are you gonna do? Hit me?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? I've got all the balls are in my court here. What the fuck are you gonna do?"
Hmm.
Um,
She's great.
yeah. So the next day, um, Kate finds Esther's Bible again, which I forget if I mentioned earlier, but she had that Bible that was hidden in the back of one of her drawers, and it had a picture of a
Hmm.
man in it. And I don't know who that man is. Do we find out who that is?
Yeah, those are all her daddies.
Oh, so there's multiple pictures of men. Okay, it wasn't just the one.
There's
Oh,
like
okay.
there I think you only see one the first time she goes in there. And then the
Right.
second time she goes in there, there's you see at least four.
Oof, yeah.
Hmm.
And then sees the stamp of the Sarn Institute. And
Hmm.
then she's like, I need to find out where the fuck this place is. And then, of course, makes a call. That's when she learns that it's a mental hospital.
Hmm.
And that's like, and the guy's just like, nah, of course, your orphan child wouldn't be adopted out of here. This is a mental hospital. People don't get adopted out of here.
Hmm.
Um, so she's like, okay, well, is it her or did this belong to her mother that was in this institution?
Hmm.
We don't know.
Or one of those four random men.
Right.
She could have gotten that book from anybody.
Like I said, Daniel is in the treehouse. He's pulling up the floorboards to find this evidence. Of course, yeah, because he's loud and dumb. He doesn't makes it all of 2 seconds. Esther's there to greet him with all
Hmm.
the evidence and the
Yep.
drawings and everything. And she's like, all right, well, we're going to burn this evidence. She makes these threats that, like, they're going to come after you too, or they're going to come after Max. And I'm like,
Hmm.
I don't think they would.
As kids, though, they would probably think that's true.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But so Daniel hesitates, so she starts pouring lighter fluid all over this shit and sets it on fire. And of course, she doesn't even care. She's like, I'm just setting this whole fucking, just set the whole
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
place on fire. Who cares? And then
Yeah.
close the door, lock it, leave Daniel inside.
She loves fire.
I know she does. He gets out, barely survives, of course,
Hmm.
jumps down a couple ways, falls to the ground. He's unconscious. Probably a lot of smoke inhalation, I would think.
Yeah. Would that treehouse burn that quickly if it was like wet from snow?
I don't think so.
Because the lighter fluid, of course, is going to get it pretty far, but you'd
Yeah.
think once it starts to hit all that really wet wood, like it would be completely saturated to its core. Like, have you ever tried to start a fire with wet wood? That's all I could think about the whole time I was watching that thing go up in flames.
Yeah, and it's hard to do.
Yeah.
So he falls to the ground. He's down for the count. Esther's like, I'm going to finish this job. Let me get this rock. I liked it because it
Yeah.
was the same way she killed the pigeon.
Hmm. Love that.
Yeah, so she's like, I'm going to do this. And then Max has her little hero moment and shoves
Oh,
her out of the
I love
way
her.
just to buy enough time for Kate to arrive and be like, what the fuck is going on?
Hmm.
You got to watch your children. Sorry, you're too busy on the phone learning about mental institutions in
Yeah.
Russia. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they all go to the hospital and convene. You've got Esther and Max there and John. And I have not mentioned her once yet. By the way, there's an extra character. It's John's mother.
Oh, yeah.
Um, she's judgy and mean, but
She's
fucking
not wrong either, though. Like,
yeah.
honestly, I'd be treating her the same exact way.
Maybe.
100%. I'd be like, you watching these kids, girl? You watching them? Because I had to learn a whole nother language with sign language because you deafened our granddaughter, my granddaughter.
Eh,
Like, I would be
Yeah,
fucking done with her.
that is pretty bad.
Grandma Barbara.
Um, yeah. But we learned Daniel's gonna be okay. Um, but not if Esther has anything to do with it.
No.
So Esther's like, hey Granny Barb, you want to give me $1 for an old soda pop? She's like, yeah, I got you. Go for it, you little
Yeah.
scamp. And she's like, wonderful. She couldn't say just like, hey, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Maybe she would think that someone, would accompany her or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But she goes immediately to Daniel's room, fucking pulls down his mask, just starts fucking
Oof.
suffocating him and smothers him. And I think like fucking kills him for a quick minute. Like his
I
like
think she
eyes are open and his pulse is not there.
she does kill him for a quick mo minute, and it makes me wonder, like, you've seen a lot of movies, people try to smother people at the hospital, and
Yeah,
I just wonder, do they not like check for that? Like, do they not think, oh, like they can tell if somebody was suffocated, right?
I think so. Because it also like takes a while to do. And then also like
Yeah.
I'm thinking of, in a well-staffed hospital, like how long it takes before, you know, the the beep 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 machine just goes beep, right? And then
Yeah.
the time between that and then when like it's all hooked up to a machine and it's all hooked up to alert alarms, I don't know, something like that. But like
Yeah,
I don't
it
know.
just kind of stood out to me. But another interesting thing that I read is that in the original script for this, Daniel dies here. They actually had her kill Daniel, which
That w
is pretty brutal. I think it would have been too brutal.
I don't think so.
I mean, not for me, for like for general audiences.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they established that he's the shittiest kid.
He is the shittiest kid.
So, okay. Yeah, I hear you though.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty rough. So, because and it totally makes sense because you never see him for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. So he's just written out.
Yeah, he's just written out. So, um, and I think it would have made more sense because I don't, so of course, they're bringing him back to life, which they do.
Hmm.
Even still, I would imagine, especially for Kate and John, like this has to be super traumatic if something awful involving a child probably the same hospital
Oh, yeah.
um, that you were at with Jessica when she was stillborn. Like
Hmm.
that's probably a lot, right?
Yeah.
And so she just goes right back. She's like, "Where's Esther?" Just goes right back and just doesn't even give her a fucking second. Just
Nope.
fucking bam, slaps her across the fucking
I
face hard
love
enough
it.
that she falls to the ground.
And she has a little blood on her mouth too.
Yeah. So it's not a good look for Kate, but she doesn't have time to explain all the context for people. Like, no, 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 trust me. This little girl's a monster. But I don't understand how that gets her hospitalized.
That's what I'm like. Okay, that was my other question. Can you just randomly inject people with sedatives if they act up at the hospital? No, that's what you have security for. Like, security would have grabbed her and been like, you need to fucking come with us. They wouldn't have just injected her with something. She's not a patient. What if she's
Yeah.
allergic to whatever you gave her?
Right. They're like,
You
we're
can't
not going to
just do
check for
that.
this.
Yeah, no, that's probably the most unbelievable part of this movie.
Yeah, so they knock her out. Oh, and the fact that she can just be like, "Oh, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna get up, get changed, and leave." And everyone's like, "Well, okay."
I think she just left. I don't think she asked.
Well, I think she just left, but I mean,
She
you're
wasn't under
also,
arrest.
yeah, I know, but it's like again, you don't think it would set off some sort of alert if you're unplugging yourself from all the machines and stuff?
Yeah, but I mean, she could be like, fuck you, I'm leaving. Just go.
Yeah, and they'd be like, "Okay,
So no one's gonna inject her
we'll
again?
bill you." Yeah, all of a sudden it's okay now,
Bob?
but so so she's again, like I said, she's hospitalized. John's like, "Hey, you stay here." Daniel's gonna be okay. He'll be back in a few days. Don't worry. He'll bounce back.
Yeah, I know. He
Um,
should have stayed at the hospital and Grandma Barbara should have went home with the girls.
Probably.
Yeah.
And then you would have gotten an extra kill because Grandma Barb gets out of this clean. I
I
thought,
know. Her and Doc and the doctor both should have gotten it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jesus, John's like, hey, I'm taking these kids home. I'm gonna tuck Max in, and I'm just gonna start drinking and smoking inside.
I was gonna say, shit's bad when you just start smoking in your living room
Y- Yeah.
with
Like
your
I get it.
kids
It's
home and shit.
like I get it. It's cold outside, but
Yeah,
yeah,
you got
yeah,
children.
yeah, absolutely. So Esther's,
Oh,
he's
Esther.
downstairs drinking his wine, having a cigarette. Esther's like, well, I'm gonna get myself into a little something a little more comfortable.
Slip into something a little bit more ladylike.
Right. And put on a bunch of makeup.
Hmm.
And that's where yeah. So, oh my gosh, this whole thing. And she's like, this is how I'm going to do it. He's getting drunk. The mood is right.
Did she drug him? Because when they show his perspective, it's like real blurred, almost like roofy blurred. Or is he like really drunk? Because you've got two kids in the house, so you can't get blackout drunk. I mean, I guess you can if you're Kate. But
I don't know because I don't know unless I missed it. I don't know if there was anything in particular that showed that she was drugging him.
it doesn't.
Um, so I think he's just real drunk. And she's like, all
Yeah.
right, well, I'm going to make us a cheese and cracker plate for you and
Yeah,
make a
that was
move.
nice.
It's nice. Doesn't even get to get a chance to have some. She starts grabbing at his dick.
Yeah. I mean, and he also like he starts like before he knows that something really weird is going on, like he must be really drunk because he also kind of loses his his fatherly composure and starts crying and
Right.
showing that like weakness that like as a parent you really don't want to show to your children. So I thought that was pretty interesting, but this whole scene
Hmm.
really makes this movie because you're like, what the fuck is going on until it like wraps with Kate and that phone call. It's so uncomfortable to watch and so awkward. And I like that John's reaction is we need to have a conversation about whether or not you're going to stay in this house.
Oh yeah, especially the second time, like he's crying and he just fucking she tries to grab at him again. And yeah, he jumps
Hmm.
up. He's like, "Yeah, okay, I think I need to send you back.
Yeah.
This is this is a little too much." Now, at first I thought he was being a little harsh when he was I think before she was getting a little too friendly with him, like
Hmm.
I don't know, like admitting that like there are issues that you're causing and everything is
Yeah.
such a fucking mess and this and this
Yeah.
and this.
He shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. So he ultimately rejects her advances. That pisses her off. He's like, just go to
Hmm.
bed, go home, go upstairs, whatever, which she
Hmm.
does. Gets real pissed, starts trashing the place, you know.
Yeah.
And then this is when you see, she has those ribbons that are on her wrists and on her neck. Turns out
Hmm.
that there's pretty bad scarring underneath all of those.
Hmm.
And that's her trying to escape the straitjacket that she was in because she kept attacking people in the mental
Yeah.
institution that she was in. So,
So great.
um, and this is all revealed to Kate as she's leaving. She gets a call from the institution because she tries to do a little bit more detective work. She does send in a photo to them of Esther
Hmm.
being like, do you recognize this person or maybe if she looks like her mother, just so we can get some sort of idea. And then they're just like, that is not, no, there was no mother here. It was her. This
Yeah.
woman is an adult. She is
She
33
is.
years old. Get out of the house. Her name is Lena.
Hmm.
You
And
need
she
to
is
get
dangerous.
she is dangerous. So of course she keeps trying to call John and John's not answering.
Yet she doesn't think to call the cops. Like she tries calling him 20 times. I'm like, you didn't think to call 911 as well.
right? Or well, she does finally, like in the drive over there.
Does she?
Um, she does
I
when
don't
she's on her
remember her
way.
calling the cops.
It's like right before she gets there and like
Okay.
literally crashes into the house.
Yeah, I know.
Which I thought was pretty funny.
It is funny that she crashes into the house because I'm like, okay, well, you still have to live there after.
Yeah. And the power gets cut out. John
Mhm.
investigates, sees that, the breaker got all fucked up. He's got his
Mhm.
flashlight. He doesn't make it very long because he investigates, and then the fucking next thing he knows, he has a fucking knife right in his back.
Oh, he finds all the paintings.
Oh, you're right. That's right. The blacklight paintings. Yeah, because he
Can't
turns
skip
on.
that.
Oh, right. Because it's
'Cause-
like, not how was this not noticed in any capacity?
because
How
the black light would have shown, because the fish, unless you turn off the fish tank light every time you turn off the lights for bedtime, which I don't think you would have seen all of that from the black light. So it doesn't make sense, but her paintings are really great. Like you've got the really violent killer one, so like the nice one of Kate like has a knife going through her skull, but then you've got her ginormous sex murals which are
yeah.
so disturbing and John's just looking at this shit like what the fuck? He doesn't know that she's a woman.
Still doesn't know until like even at the very end.
No,
Like,
he dies not knowing.
oh my gosh. Yeah, and she stabs the shit out of him. He tries to
It's
fight back for a
great.
second, but it doesn't work.
I
Um,
honestly forgot that he died. I was
hmm,
shocked when I watched it this go around. I was like, what the fuck? I don't remember him dying. Kate will be better off.
I agree. So, like I said, Kate crashes into the house, gets out, she finds John's body.
Mm.
And she's pretty upset about that. I think
Yeah.
everyone's just gonna need a lot of therapy here. Um,
So much.
it's pretty rough. But she doesn't need to go to rehab anymore, though. So there you go. Obviously, she needs to go check on Max next, right?
Oh, yeah.
Um, but then she's hearing sounds. She's also trying to find Esther.
Hmm.
Um, Esther's got the gun that was locked in the safe earlier.
What do you
And
think of how she looks with all the makeup and stuff? Because I know she's taking off makeup in the movie, but they obviously put a lot of makeup on her.
I mean, she looks very threatening.
She does. I thought she looked a little haggard for a 33-year-old. Like they kind of gave her a little too much like wrinkles. I was like, okay, she's 33, like not 53. Calm down, everybody. Like
Right.
I was like, damn, y'all are really coming for people in their 30s. They were like, look how disgusting she is.
She gets a shot off and clips Kate's arm, right? So that leaves a
Hmm.
blood trail as Kate's going through the house. Um,
Hmm.
Max, at the same time, is going through the house, doing her
Hmm.
little pitter patter run. Um,
Yeah, she's good at like sneaking.
yeah. Yeah, and there's some like hide and seek here. Max is in that greenhouse.
Hmm.
At this point, let's see. She's Kate's made her way onto the roof of the greenhouse, which
Hmm.
is it's made of glass, but there's snow on top, so there's not like total visibility. She has to move some of the snow around to
Yeah.
see what's
I
going
would
on.
not want to be standing on top of that thing.
Oh gosh, I was thinking like Brandy, and I still know
Yeah, and
what you
I
did
know.
last
I still know
summer.
what you did last summer. Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking about.
Ooh, and I think that was an even higher fall for Brandy.
Hmm. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Max is hiding in some of the plants while Esther's made her way in there because, Esther knocked over a potted plant, made some noise. Of Max did. Max makes that noise. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So Esther's looking for and ultimately finds her, right? And
Hmm.
starts shooting at her, which I'm like, you
Yeah.
have a really fucking bad shot because I thought this looked really dumb where she's getting the
Hmm.
shots off, but Max is like running across the room, but it's still just that real like small foot pitter patter,
Yeah,
where I'm
she's
just like,
not sprinting
she
and
is not sprinting at
like
all.
you had time to learn how to professionally paint and become a master at piano, but you didn't like have time. I guess they wouldn't have weapons, so I guess she wouldn't have time to practice her shot. One thing that I think is really fun before this whole chase scene happens when Kate is exploring the house looking for Max and or Esther she walks into the bedroom and Esther had set up candles and a rose on the bed for John.
Mm,
And she just says,
gross.
"What the fuck?" I think that's so funny. Like it has like these little tastes of humor every now and then in this movie, but this gun chase goes on a little too long.
Um, I like how Kate is like, fuck this. I'm just gonna jump through the glass and just fucking tackle her.
Yeah.
I don't know why they thought that alone was gonna do it because
No,
they're like, okay, cool. We got her.
she's
She's
done.
not moving. I think we
Yeah.
got it settled.
Smash her fucking head in.
Let's go walk off into the woods and just hang out and just see what happens.
Yep.
Which I'm like, the police arrive and so no one goes to, I guess they're far away enough from the house that they're not going to try and flag down any of the officers. The officers go into the house. Of course, they can't find
Yeah.
Esther's body at that point.
Hmm.
Um, or Lena's body, but or what's her name? I don't know. But I'm gonna keep calling her
Well,
Esther.
don't they look back and she's gone?
Who's gone?
Esther's already gone at that point. By the
Yeah.
time, like, yeah, like Max and Kate are in the house. I don't think that the cops have arrived yet. So they like run out of the house realizing that she's gone, but there's no sirens just yet.
So
They already started running in the woods.
they started running in the woods.
Hmm.
They see the police who drive right past them, go into
Oh
the
yeah.
house, and
Hmm.
then you see that Esther's not there anymore, which means that
Okay.
Esther's, and then of course, shortly after, Esther runs and tackles Kate to the ground, and then they
Oof.
both roll down this short little hill and then onto this frozen lake
No.
that we had talked about earlier. And then this is where, you get your like back and forth. Some people are getting some hits. Um,
Mm.
you still have the gun that's being, hit and hit around.
Hmm.
Max gets a hold of it, does
This
no
makes me
favors.
nervous. It makes me so nervous when Max has the gun because I'm like, girl, you might hit your mom instead. So maybe don't.
Yeah. So I guess the second best option is she doesn't hit any of them, but then breaks the ice, um, or
So
at least causes
scary.
the ice to break in the meantime. Also, like just, a 5-year-old tried to use that gun, of course, like launches her back a few feet.
Hmm.
This is when the ice cracks and then they both crash in, go into the water.
Terrifying.
Yeah, that's awful.
I have had nightmares about falling into like an icy lake. I just think that's one of the scariest things that could happen.
Because there's like just freezing to death, which you can do very quickly, depending how cold the
Hmm.
water is. Or
Hmm.
probably even more frightening is that you can't find the hole anymore that
Yeah.
you came out of. So you're like trying to
Oh,
come up for air and you can't,
I hate
kind of
that.
situation. Ugh. But they have they fight back and forth underwater. Kate gets the upper hand, gets a good hit in, even though she's been stabbed a couple times at this point by Esther
Yeah,
underwater.
she's
Ugh,
in
it's
bad
rough.
shape.
Yeah, but she's able to at least get out of the water, climb back onto the ice. You just gotta quick move your ankles away from the edge of the ice
Yeah.
because like every single fucking time, fucking her hand comes out and grabs it. Me, I'm worried about that cast getting wet for her broken arm. Like that's fucked. So Esther grabs Kate's ankle, right? And it's just
Mm.
like, "Mommy, don't let me die, mommy," or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And then this is kind of a weird shot because
Yeah.
then Kate kills her, just straight up kills her by
Yeah.
kicking her so fucking hard in the face that her neck snaps.
Yeah. And her jaw almost looks like it broke too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just fucking kicks her into the water. And then Esther's dead.
Yeah.
And then Esther is dead here, right? Because I don't, yeah, because I guess the only other movie is the
Yeah.
prequel. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
she's supposed to be dead.
yeah. Hmm. After facing someone as formidable as Julia Stiles, feels weird to go down like that.
Hey, no spoilers.
True. So there, Kate's able to climb back. Of course, she's telling Max like, "Hey, it's dangerous. Do not get near me,
Hmm.
let me get to you, right? So she's able to climb up the ice. She's able to grab Max, pick her up.
Hmm.
Max is probably like, you are soaking wet, freezing cold. Why are you
Yeah, I'd be
getting me
like, let me
wet?
just walk myself. Like, please no.
Yeah,
It ends very abruptly.
it does. Because then it's like the police are like, oh, hey, you guys are out here? Oh, what's going on?
We found you.
Yeah.
Everything okay?
Yeah, we didn't see
We
anything. We
got
saw
some
someone.
noise complaints.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then that's it.
the other thing, like this climax in the icy lake also, and I thought about this earlier in the movie too, but this just really brings it home, is after that incident with Max, if you're so worried about the lake and all the trauma associated with it, honestly, sell that house, move somewhere else. Why are you still next to that lake? That to me just is so unbelievable. I'd be out of there in a fucking second.
As a homeowner myself, it depends. If you're locked into a real good interest rate, and I'm thinking in like circa like 2009, probably some low
Yeah,
ones,
yeah,
right?
2009 was a bad time.
So I I don't know. I'd be like, I don't know. I think we got to stay here. I think we got to make this work.
Yeah, see,
My
that's probably
mo-
a terrible husband's decision.
Probably. I was like, my mortgage is gonna fucking triple. Come on, what are we doing? So that's the end of our movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, what are the taglines for this movie?
All right. There are three taglines for this movie. Three seems to be the magic number lately.
I know the one.
What is it?
There's something wrong with Esther.
Yeah, that's the one that is like on most of the movie posters. It's a good one. It
Yeah,
works.
it's fine.
There's also Can You Keep a Secret?
Okay.
But I think I like the third one the best, and I don't think I've ever seen this one before. You'll never guess her secret,
Mm.
which is fair. I don't think anybody guessed that ending. That was the big appeal of this movie was that twist.
Based on a true story.
Yeah, but they didn't advertise it that way,
I know.
which I appreciated because it's
Yeah,
very
it would have
much
given it away.
dramatized. Yeah, and I think that was the reason why I think it was inspired by that story, but very, very different than the actual situation that happened.
And I really feel like I should have been very upfront and clear about this from the beginning. But um, you know, there are a lot of children that don't have homes in this country and in this world. And I worry that people would watch a movie like this and have some biases around adopting somebody and not even just like, yeah, okay, maybe they're not all serial killers, sure, but like, this idea of just adopting someone and not ever really fully knowing,
Yeah.
everything. You know what I mean? And children that, have trauma or processing trauma, like
Mm-hmm.
it's I feel like and of course I'm not surprised to learn like reading about, the production history of this that, there were certainly, some, you know, adoption rights groups that were like, this
Mm-hmm.
is pretty nasty. We don't like this. Nor is it really a good representation of people that stay in behavioral health hospitals and the such. So
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
pretty gross.
but also if you aren't mature enough to watch a movie like this and it's going to affect your decision on whether or not you would adopt a child, you probably shouldn't be adopting a child in the first place. That might be a hot take, but like if this movie affected your decision on that, that is fucking wild to me.
I agree.
So,
I'm just saying though, still.
and
I
yeah, and
it
I
just needs to be balanced with, you need Annie, like a nice spunky orphan that just likes to sing songs, right? And there's a lot of good there needs to be more good representation than the bad is what I'm saying.
I think there well, I can't really think of that many movies about adoption off the top of my head. Like this, The Good Son, which isn't a great one. I don't remember if he was adopted though, or if he was the son of like somebody who passed away in their family.
He's like their nephew.
Yeah, so that's a different situation. Um, yeah, but now I'm like
Um,
trying to think of any other like movies with adoption.
well, it's not a movie, but Sister Sister. That was a fun
But that's a
situation,
yeah, that's a fun situation. I mean, they
right?
did get separated, which is kind of a bummer, but
But they got back together because none of the
yeah,
parents were their biological parents, right?
no,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, they were both
What a great
adopted.
what a great show. What a great cast.
It is. It's fun.
Love that. Um, so that's all I got on this movie. How about you?
Yeah, I think that's it. That's all I got.
Jeez. And that was the taglines. We blew through that. So let's go to boo
Yeah.
scores. You want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first. I went first last time.
Okay. This movie is pretty good. It's like I said, it's absolutely very problematic in so many ways. I'm gonna knock it because the movie's too long. I'm
It
sorry.
is long.
No movie, and here's my hot take, no movie, horror or otherwise, has any right being 2 hours or longer. Stop it.
I don't think that's a hot take at all.
Yeah, just fucking stop it. Why?
Yeah.
There's like so much you can just cut out. Who cares? We
There's a
get we
lot
get the
you could
gist of
cut
it.
out of this movie for sure.
And it's weird because it's like there's a lot you can cut out, but then there's also I wanted more kills because there are people that
Hmm.
definitely, I don't know. But also too, I just know there is spoiler alert, I'm sorry, but there is a much better version of this movie that
Yeah.
exists
Yeah.
that
No,
they
that's fine.
really
You can spoil that we think the second one is better. And if you haven't watched it, you should watch it. Watch the first one and then watch the second one. They are two totally different genres of film, in my opinion, but the second one is so fun.
I love that it's a prequel, but she's 13 years older. And I don't think they even it's like Jigsaw. Like they don't like try to make him look younger, like in the
Yeah,
prequels. They're just like,
they
ah,
just make her look smaller, but they don't do
yeah,
anything to her face because like without makeup, she looks pretty fucking young still.
yeah.
They did do something to her eyes. They made her pupils look larger to make her look younger. So they did that.
Hmm. Okay. The performances are so-so. Um, I don't know if I cared about any member of this family, maybe outside of Max, and it's hard for me to care about a child, so good for her.
She's the best character in
Um,
this movie.
yeah. I like Vera Farmiga, but she's better in other movies, especially
Mhm.
other horror movies.
Mhm.
I think it's fun. I'm gonna give it a 2.
Mm.
How
Okay.
about you?
I was actually pleasantly surprised when I watched this movie because after watching First Kill, I was like, oh, this is so much better than the first one. So it kind of made me like in my mind push this one like back a couple notches. But it had been a while since I rewatched it. And I want to say this was maybe my fourth time having seen the film. While I don't like many of the characters, I do enjoy watching the drama of it all unfold. I
Hmm.
absolutely agree. It is way too long. It did not need to be 2 hours. But what I do really like about this movie, I think Isabel Furman does a really good job. Her acting is really great. She creeps me out. Um, I also love the creation of this character and this situation and her motive and just how off the wall she is with her approach of how she'll go about what she's doing. And I think it sets up really good bones for the next movie. And I know that that's kind of like, I shouldn't give the movie credit for something that they didn't know was going to happen. But I really like the setup of this character of Esther. I like the way she thinks and the way she operates. So I'm going to be a little bit more generous with my boo score because I do think it's a fun film. I don't think it's, I shouldn't say fun. It's not fun, but I do think it's interesting. So I'm going to give it 3 boos.
Hell yeah. Dang. Well, that's all I got on Orphan. Do we call that a wrap?
Yeah.
Let's see, any parting words? I can't think of any.
Any good advice?
No,
Don't let this deter you from adopting if you were on the fence.
I agree. Take care, everybody. Three, two, one, ghost.
Thanks for listening to our episode on Orphan. If you enjoyed this episode, you can subscribe to our podcast and leave us a 5 boo review on whichever platform you choose to listen. You can find us on Instagram at 321ghostpod and give us a follow. We would love to hear your thoughts on the film. You could shoot an email to 321ghostpod@gmail.com to share any thoughts, questions, or recommend a movie you'd like to hear us discuss. Next week, we'll be chatting about 2011's Cabin in the Woods. Thanks again for listening. And remember, don't smoke cigarettes in your living room. That's gross. 3, 2, 1, ghost.